This podcast is brought to you by Life Strength and Health. Life Strength and Health is a wellness center that provides holistic health coaching so that we help our clients unlock optimal health with our personalized approach to gut health. To learn more about us, just visit our website at lifestrengthandhealth.com. This is episode number 322 of the Life Strength and Health podcast. I'm Kim and I'm joined with Jamal.
Greetings, everyone.
And
peace and blessings.
Yes, and thank you for joining us this episode. The sponsor of today's episode is Oos, and Oos is a new card game with ancient African art and culture. It's similar to Uno, but it has a whole other spin to it. So listen to what other people saying about Oos.
In the Black culture, card games are taken very seriously. I didn't play much, so I never developed the skill set for it. Every time I tried to play, I got really discouraged because my Black card was always threatened. So I would get out of playing cards by making myself really busy, like talking to people, holding deep conversations, cooking, cleaning, things like that, so I wouldn't have to be called upon to play. I never got into Crazy Eights, Uno, Spades, none of those. So it's kind of hilarious that a card game developed out of our cultural work together with my spiritual family. For the first time, I was excited about playing cards. And that was because it has African images and culture that resonated with me. The first time we played together, it went on for hours. I actually won a game. Look, y'all, this game is for everyone, even people like me who are not card game players.
So go to MezuRockCreations.com to learn more about the Oos game and pre-order your deck today. So now let's segue into this week's episode. And the theme of this episode is Beyond the Gut. So in episode 319, we shared that we are changing the format of our podcast and we're going to have weekly themes. And in the Beyond the Gut segment, we're going to be talking about a holistic health topic that's related to your gut, but is not usually connected to a gut issue. And in this episode, we're going to be discussing a condition that is never connected to your gut, and that is eczema. 31.6 million people suffer from this skin condition in the US, and they're treating it with a topical solution, which are only temporary.
Yeah, if you've been listening to our podcast or working with us for a while, we encourage people to take a holistic approach in how they look at their body. And a lot of times, conventional medicine, they chase the symptoms. So when there is a skin issue, they're looking at your skin first, right? But from a holistic perspective, we're looking beyond the skin and we're looking into the body. And usually when there's something that's going on inside of the body, unless, you got poison oak or poison ivory or something that you brushed up against to, usually the origin is inside of the body. So eczema is no different, right? Topical is, like Kim said, temporary, but we want to look deeper than the surface of your skin.
Eczema is medically known as atopic dermatitis. It's a medical condition in which patches of the skin become rough and inflamed, with blisters that cause itching and bleeding, sometimes resulting from a reaction to irritation, but more typically having no obvious external cause.
And the whole thing about no external cause is really interesting. And I was looking at the National Association of Eczema. I was on their website. And what they say is, and they say this very specifically, is that they don't know what exactly causes eczema. They believe that it is an interaction between a person's environment and their genes, which causes an atopical immune response. Unfortunately, there isn't a lot of research connecting eczema to your gut or to internal causes, but from a clinical perspective, it's something that we see all the time. So I think that it's one of those things that we'll start to see in the future I think that the research has to catch up with what a lot of practitioners are seeing in the office.
So, one of the things that I love to hear is the feedback that we get from our clients after working with us for a while. They share the happiness they have with their skin improvement, whether the rashes have went away or the constitution looks so much better. Their skin is tighter, they look more youthful. When you think about the skin, it's the first thing that people see. And when you have skin issues, you can be very self conscious, so it's always great to hear like our clients experiencing success with improving their skin health.
Right. And the thing is that a lot of our clients that come in are not coming in for skin issues, right? Some do, but a lot don't. They're coming in for other reasons. So when their skin starts to improve, when their eczema actually starts to clear up and other, skin issues and challenges that they're having, like that's a pleasant surprise. That's something that they weren't expecting. They thought that that could be a possibility, but they had no idea that, they were going to see such improvement with their skin.
Right.
And like Kim said, being that that's the first thing that you see, a lot of people are self-conscious about that, right? So they're really happy to find out that, they're focusing on the inside of their body and they're seeing the results on the outside of the body.
Your skin, of course, is so important as a protective barrier for your health, but it also lets you know or signifies what's going on inside of your body as well.
Yes, one of the things that I do is like skin and face assessments. So I'm looking at very specific things on a person's face dealing with their skin that is telling me very specifically some things that are going on inside of their body, some imbalances or blockages that they're dealing with inside of their body. And when it comes to eczema overall, I haven't personally seen someone with eczema that doesn't have gut issues. And I'm not saying that that's not possible, but what I am saying is that, like, for the 20 years that we've been helping people, I haven't seen someone with eczema that didn't have gut issues. And when I say gut issues, I'm not just talking about the typical gut stuff that people may deal with because there are so many different gut challenges and how it presents itself. But I haven't seen a person that didn't have some form of gut dysbiosis, gut challenges with eczema.
So, clinically, we are seeing this connection between the gut and eczema. So, how would you explain this connection so people can begin to understand what is happening?
So I think that we first need to start with your gastrointestinal tract. And what I'm going to say is something that you don't usually hear, but your gastrointestinal tract is technically outside of your body.
And just to be clear about what your gastrointestinal tract is, it's a series of hollow organs that runs from your mouth to your anus.
Right. So the key word is hollow. So these hollow organs, we're going to say tubes. So you have this hollow tube that runs from your mouth to your anus. And when we say hollow, I mean, it's not empty. Obviously, there are things in there, bacteria and secretions and other things. We know that that's there, but technically it is hollow and it runs through. And in order for something to actually get into your body, it has to be let in. Your body has to let it in. So something technically can run through this tubing system from your mouth to your anus and not get in, right? Certain fibers are unabsorbable. So there are certain things that can't get in. So technically, it's the outside of your body. So in your digestive tract, this hollow tube, it's full of microorganisms. And these microorganisms are bacteria, fungus, microbes, and more. This runs along that tube. That is called your gut microbiome. Now, there is something called your skin microbiome, and that consists of microorganisms, which are bacteria, fungus, microbes, and more. And a lot of skin disorders coincide with a compromised gut. A lot of people don't know, but like these organisms, these microorganisms, they have consciousness. They communicate to your body and they communicate to each other. And a lot of these gut microbiome organisms that we have are the same on your skin, right? Same organisms. And we say this all the time, and this is the reason why we stress gut health so much in building up your body's bacteria is because technically we are bacteria beings. And what I mean by that is we are made up of more bacteria than we are cells. We have trillions of bacteria. We are made up of trillions of bacteria. So you hear this term, the gut brain axis. That's when the gut is having direct communication to and from your brain, but you actually have something called the gut skin axis. And that is when your gut is having direct communication with your skin. And when your gut microbiome and your skin microbiome is out of balance, that leads to skin problems.
So, for someone whose gut bacteria is out of balance, what we mean is that you have too much bad bacteria in your body.
Right. And we use that word bad loosely, but it's really opportunistic bacteria
Right.
because we have small amounts of this so called bad bacteria. It's supposed to be there in small amounts. But when it's not regulated properly by the good bacteria and it gets out of control, then it behaves in a bad way. So it's really opportunistic bacteria as opposed to bad bacteria.
Another way that your gut bacteria can be out of balance is that you don't have enough good bacteria or your bacteria is not diverse enough.
Right. So when opportunistic bacteria gets out of control, it causes various health problems. And depending on which one is out of balance, it will cause a series of different health challenges. People with eczema usually test high in a bacteria called Clostridia, which is a family of 100 different species that are known so far. And one of those strands is Clostridia tetani, which is a deadly disease. Even though it can be deadly, it's kept in check when your microbiome is in balance. This bacteria naturally exists in your gut, but is kept in check. But when the microbiome is out of balance, things can get into the gut that isn't supposed to, which causes an immune response. So this tetani, right, also known as tetanus, is deadly. We know tetanus to be deadly, which is why we get the tetanus shots. And that's usually found in soil. So if you have a cut and you get soil in it, or you scrape a dirty piece of metal and they think that it has tetanus in it, you get this shot or this vaccine to protect you from tetanus. But as long as it's just on your skin, the bacteria that's on your skin, as long as it's in your gut, the bacteria from your gut will protect you from it. When the body detects too much of the wrong bacteria on the skin, it triggers an immune response and the skin becomes inflamed and itchy, or you'll get rashes. And like we were saying before, in our line of business, we usually see this gut skin connection with our clients. And where there's eczema, there is a gut imbalance, different types of gut imbalances. But one thing that we see often is yeast and sugar are most common. Most of the time, there's yeast overgrowth in people that are dealing with eczema. And one common and very sad thing that we see are children with eczema.
Mm-hmm.
And, as a parent, it really, it breaks your heart when you have infants and babies and toddlers and little ones dealing with this skin issue, when they're just uncomfortable, when they're in pain and
Scratching
yeah,
themselves till they
scratching. Right.
bleed
And they
and
they don't know any better. We get so many parents that are just so concerned, and it's heartbreaking to see that in your child. And they're going into their medical doctors and they're not really getting answers. They're getting the topical solutions,
mm-hmm.
you know, cut their nails, and
Put
they're
the mitts on.
right, and they're doing these things to stop it. And it's really unfortunate, but we see that it originates in the mother. And when we say it originates in the mother, we're not talking about eczema. We're talking about gut imbalances.
Right.
So when we see in the mother that her gut is compromised, she has an overgrowth of yeast, she eats too many processed foods that turns into sugar, or directly having sugary foods, we tend to see that it's passed along. This bacterial imbalance is passed along to the children.
And when it is passed on to the children, of course, as a mother, you feel guilty. But if you didn't know about your own gut imbalance, you certainly wouldn't want to hurt your child. But for young children, infants, the gut is being developed at such a young age, but they kind of are starting behind the eight ball because they started with poor gut health.
Right. And we work with a lot of women on, we call it preconception, helping women to conceive and get their body ready. And that's one of the things that we emphasize heavily on, is getting their microbiome balanced. Getting their guts right is very important. That's what we emphasize on, really helping that. So it's unfortunate, but as parents, you have to take responsibility for what you pass on to your children, including your health. And if you really want to have a healthy baby, a healthy child that doesn't have these issues, it's important that you get yourself balanced before conception.
Right. So if a person is experiencing skin issues and it's gut related, what are some common causes of this imbalance?
Like I mentioned before, dietary, so sugar, processed foods. I know that veganism is growing in popularity, and it's really important that if you're going to be plant-based, that you're actually eating a lot of vegetables and non-processed foods, because what we tend to see is starchitarians. They're eating mostly starches. So if you're eating mostly starches or an all starch diet, it's high in sugar, things that turn into sugar in your body. Oral antibiotics and other medication, smoking and nicotine, as far as passing it on to your child, C-sections, because when the child is traveling down the birth canal, it's getting a lot of the bacteria that it needs. It's swallowing a lot of that bacteria, getting that bacteria on his or her skin, so it doesn't do that. If you're not breastfeeding, that could be passed on to your child. Not getting enough skin to skin contact with infants doesn't allow them to get the bacteria that they need as well. And like we said, just having a compromised gut, the mother can pass the bad bacteria on to her child.
So once you understand what is going on, then you can take action and take responsibility for the imbalance and help your child to heal and get better overall.
Right. And, whether it's a little one, your child, or you, as an adult that is dealing with eczema, I understand that there haven't been a lot of answers out there in dealing with it. And it's something that people deal with on many different levels. I see mild cases that flare up from time to time. And then I see some people that have like a permanent flare up, like they just have dark patches and spots on their body that doesn't clear up at all. Even the topical things are not working. And it's an immune response. Your body is inflamed and you're in this constant immune response condition. It's an autoimmune response that your body is having. And just because you have eczema, it doesn't mean that you have this lifelong sentence. We have personally seen people's eczema clear up and not come back, provided that they stay in balance. So, from our perspective in doing our clinical work, it is possible to clear up your eczema, but if you're just looking at your skin and you're just looking at it topically, then you won't find a lot of success. But if you take responsibility for your health and you change your lifestyle and you really focus on bringing your gut into balance and having a robust gut microbiome, it is possible. And that's not easy. I'm not saying that it's easy to do. It's not easy, but it is very possible.
Right. It's possible. So we are a big proponent of using food as medicine, but also during your health journey, you may also need to supplement as well. And when you take supplements, it's important to take high quality supplements. And that's why we love to use FullScript as our online health dispensary. FullScript is a way that our clients could gain access to hundreds of high quality supplements, herbs, nutraceuticals, and personal care products. And one of the things that we love about using FullScript is we could also put various health protocols within your account. And we definitely have a gut health recommendation list within FullScript. So if you have an account or when you set up an account, as soon as you create your account, you'll gain access to this protocol. Signing up for an account is free and it's easy to do. You're just going to go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/sign up. There you can create your free account or log into your existing account. So just go to lifestrengthandhealth.com/sign up to create your new account today. And all first-time orders will receive 20% off. So that is the conclusion of this episode. The show notes for this episode is lifestrengthandhealth.com/322. That's lifestrengthandhealth.com/322. There you can check out everything that we have discussed in this episode. So thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. And until next time, live healthier.
Stay healthy, everyone. Peace and blessings.